Right, this is a road test of a Honda Civic. This is the 2.2i-DTEC EX model. This video should follow on from a walk around and an appraisal video which will be posted in due course. Car's registered, it's a 62 plate car which ends from memory in VMK. The mileage on the car currently is 103,798 miles. Purpose of this brief test drive is just to give reassurance to those who may be travelling a fair distance to us, that if you kind of come and see the car, then you can do so in the confidence that the car you're coming to see drives exactly as it should, or if there's any issues with the car, then I can make you aware of them before you actually come to us. We're now selling to people from all over the near continent and to the extremes of the UK, so people are sort of committing days in travel or many hours, and I think this is the least we can now do. What I try and do is do it in some sort of order for you, hopefully the order in which you would probably look yourself when you came to see the car. Obviously the external and internal condition of the car will be explained in the walk around video of the car, which comes prior to this one. This one really covers the mechanical side. So first things first, obviously engine. This is the DTEC engine, so the later engine, and it is a lovely example of one. They're all very good engines anyway, but given the mileage of the car, obviously you'd want to know that, you know, how does it drive, what's it like, any strange noises. I can assure you the car starts absolutely on the button, settles to an immediate and very, very quiet, very even idle. No strange noises, clutch in or out, exactly the same. No smoke, no strange odours, nothing. So it's a wonderful, wonderful unit. Pulls absolutely beautifully, exactly the same as the low mileage one we got in stock. Very, very, very quiet and refined on the move. They've made huge strides with this car, more of that later. Obviously the car then runs through to the 6-speed gearbox and the clutch. Clutch of the car is light, the pedal is squeak free, no clicking noises, nothing like that. It bites absolutely beautifully, and it bites, the biting point on the pedal is perfect. It's, you know, it's not right at the bottom, not right at the top, it's slap bang in the middle, and it feels perfect. Gearbox, 6-speed gearbox, standard Honda fare, absolutely brilliant. Short on the throw, lovely synchro mesh, lovely gear change, really precise, really easy, feels and is a beautifully manufactured piece of kit. I mean, the whole drivetrain, were you to put blindfold on, as cliched as it may sound, you would never ever believe this had done much more than 20 or 30,000 miles. It just feels rock solid. So mechanically, I'm not going to fault the car in any way. Brings me on to then brakes. Solid brake pedal, really solid, brakes really well, no shudders, no shimmies, no wobbles when you hit the brake pedal, which suggests that the brake pads and discs are all in fine order underneath. The pedal's well modulated, it's a really nice setup, there's no over assistance, and it doesn't feel spongy either. They got it exactly right. The steering is I cannot detect a hint of wear in the steering at all. So again, things like track rods or ball joints, that kind of stuff underneath the car must be in very, very fine order, because with a few miles on the clock you'd expect to feel some degree of wear through it, but really it just feels like new. Likewise, chassis, suspension, absolutely silent in the way it goes about its operation, apart from obviously hitting bumps. But you don't get any sense that there's any free play or looseness underneath the chassis at all. It feels as taut as any of these we've had, and we've had them with some very low mileages. It's a real testament to just how well Honda build these cars, in all honesty. I also tend to, as I'm driving along, listen out for obvious kind of wind noises, you know, which aren't natural, kind of wind hissing, which may suggest that there's like a damaged windscreen seal or the window seal. But again, it's very quiet and there's no intrusion at all. Onto the switch gear of the car. every switch I've pressed works absolutely perfectly. You can see the sat nav's working absolutely fine. As in the previous video, you'll see that the rear camera works absolutely perfectly as well. There's nothing that I can find on the car in terms of any switch I press which doesn't work or doesn't work exactly as it should. Looking at the dashboard now, no warning lights on the car, as you'd expect again, but just to let you know, the passenger airbag's been turned off but can be switched back on again by little switch in the glove box from memory on these. But there's no warning lights on the car at all. Looking around the dashboard again itself, it really is, it beggars belief to think that this car's done 100,000 miles. I mean, it's premium quality, hatchback. It's certainly that. I mean, it's I love these cars because this really just does go to showcase, what I've always known and I've always loved about Honda. They're not just built for 2 or 3 years of looking good and driving well, which a lot of manufacturers seem to do, and they kind of dupe the motoring press into thinking they're well made or otherwise. This is not a surprise to me. It's as drives as well as it does, or it's as well screwed together as it is. The whole dashboard doesn't exhibit a tiniest murmur or squeak or groan at any time. The quality of the interior is of the very, very highest order. I've got a friend who's got a new shape, Mark 9 or 10 or whatever it is, Golf now, which everyone eulogises about the build quality, and he's stuffing down pieces of paper down the side of his dashboard constantly to try and get rid of little buzzers and trim noises from inside the car. In the real world of motoring, which is what this certainly is, I do not believe there's a better made car than these Honda Civics. They are astonishingly well made. If I could find a fault in here, I will honestly tell you, but I simply can't find an ounce of wear in the car at all. It's fantastic, it really is. Obviously this is a big leap forward from the previous shape Civic, which in its own right was a very, very good car. I mean, the criticisms of the last Civic was that the ride was a little bit firm, which it could be, on certain surfaces, and they've done a hell of a good job on this car to sort of smooth out the suspension but maintain the directness of the chassis, and the body control and the sharpness of the drive, and they've done a really nice job. I mean, it certainly feels a more mature car in lots of ways, but it's lost none of the spirit that I loved about the last one. Noticeably quieter than the last one as well. Engine noise is far better suppressed, so the old one was very quiet on the move, but at low speeds could sort of drum up a bit of noise from the engines, whereas this one's, apart from sat stationary now, we can hear the engine. In fact, if I put it into neutral there, you can see it's got the auto stop as well on the engine. So as I depress the clutch, starts and goes, so saves you fuel when you're queuing up or stuck in queues rather. It just drives really well. It just feels what it is, a really high quality car. This obviously uses the DTEC Honda engine, the 2.2 version, so it's 150 horsepower or so. Pulls really, really well. Very, very economical. They've obviously changed the gearing, I think, slightly on the last one. It feels taller geared. I might be proved wrong, but it's still got loads of guts and go. It's noticeably smoother and quieter on the move, the DTEC. The other thing to point out with DTEC engines, of course, is that they run cam chains and not cam belts, so there's none of that to worry about. They've got an amazing reputation for reliability and longevity. They're a tough engine. We have very, very, very few issues, if ever any at all, with the cars. It's a wonderful, wonderful unit. Obviously now they've like all manufacturers, they've been pressured into sort of chasing as low an emission as possible. So now reverted to a 1.6 on the later car, which is a very fine engine. I've driven it; it's a nice engine. Slightly noisier than this one, unless my ears deceive me. But the one thing I do notice with the 1.6 is that, you know, with 1 or 2 passengers on board, it's absolutely fine. What you do tend to notice is on the road with maybe a couple of kids in the back and a bit of luggage, or certainly if you're towing with a car, then the 2.2 is a much more refined and effortless companion. That you can pull, like now, 3rd gear, 1000 RPM, pull away, and it does it without any effort. The 1.6 you may have to drop down a gear again, so it just takes away some of the kind of the kind of it's not pleasure. What's the word I'm trying to think of? It's just so much more relaxed. I think the 2.2. Certainly with passengers on board. But as I said, I can see why they've done it. But you know, this is in its own right a great car. Coming back to the dashboard here, obviously big spec car, the EX. So you've got virtually every gadget going on the car. So this big screen sat nav system, dual zone climate control system as well, multifunction steering wheel, heated seats, auto stoppers I've got on there as well. I mean, it's a big spec car. On top of which, as you know from the outside, this one's been fitted with this lovely sport exterior pack, the upgraded alloys. It's a really good looking car, and I just want obviously anybody to know that if you are driving a distance, it does drive exactly as I'm saying. I would, if I could feel something, I would definitely tell you. So in that way, I hope the video has been of use to you. If I've missed out anything on this or the walk around video, then I do apologise. You know, do phone us up and ask us. But just to reiterate, if you're coming to see the car, you'll be absolutely delighted with it.